Welcome to the Buffalo End Zone Podcast, everyone. I'm Kevin Carroll with you as always. Here we are, the Bills entering the bye week. So no football coming up this weekend. So since we have some time in between games, we thought it would be a good idea to go back and revisit some of our celebrity Bills fans podcasts. 3 that we chatted with already this year. A quick snippet from those podcasts. And then if you want to watch the full podcast in full, you can get that on our YouTube page. First up, back in the summer, Chris McDonald, a.k.a. Shooter McGavin, was in Western New York for Jim Kelly's annual charity golf tournament. He then stopped by to join Andy Young and I, a longtime Bills fan, talking about what he thinks about the current Bills team. And I tried to get him to confirm that Happy Gilmore 2 was coming out. He would not do that at that time. We all know it's out now. So here is Chris McDonald, a.k.a. Shooter McGavin.
You mentioned Josh Allen earlier in the 13 seconds game. What are your thoughts on the second resurgence of the Bills after the Super Bowl era and a chance to be contenders and be in the national spotlight and all those primetime games? It's got to be fun.
Contenders, yes. I mean, we got so close last time, and then, wide right, just a little cough there. But that happened. But at the same time, Josh and the offense is just killing it. I like this Coleman kid. Mm-hmm. He's going to be a real player, I think. Well, we lost a couple of really good, receivers. But at the same time, it's probably for a good cause because, there was kind of some little trash talking. But at the same time, Josh Allen is the real deal also. So it's so exciting to be a Bills fan when you have somebody like that running the offense. He's got a great arm. He can run. He's fearless in a lot of ways. So it's just a joy to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Bit too fearless in that preseason game the other day, taking off with
We're not talking about that. That does not matter.
Absolutely.
No coincidence he was pulled from the game right after that.
Taken right out of the game. I think the first time I saw you at a Bills game walking through the tunnel and someone tapped me on the shoulder and they're like, why is Shooter McGavin over in the corner of the press room? And I was like, wait, what? And then it leaked around that you were friends with Jim. But yeah. I think the team really stunk back then the first time I saw you. I've seen you in the tunnel since then. Yeah. But what's it like maybe coming all the way out here from California to watch a bad team to now coming out all the way from California to now watch your team be one of the darlings of the NFL?
That's a really good question too. First of all, it's a blessing to be walking onto the field with Jim Kelly.
Yeah.
Because and then they say it's Shooter, and I give him a couple of guns, and it's like, oh my God. So, but I've gotten some great access through Jim, my friendship with him. The team at that time was not very good, but at the same time, it turns around on a dime. Mm-hmm. A couple of we have our teams that we don't like the Jets, like Miami Dolphins. We want to squish the fish. We want the Jets to go down.
The Patriots all those years.
How many years do they have to beat us? I mean, oh my God! And then of course he left, and yeah, anyway. But it's just they're on fire, I think, and I think these pre-games really don't matter, and whatever happened. But wow, I think we're stacked. I like it a lot this year. So I just love being a fan, and for all those great Buffalo Bill fans out there. Oh my God, the Bills, they're in rare form now.
Yeah, I'm one of those guys. Sometimes less is more. Sometimes you take Stephon Diggs out of the mix and bring other players in, and maybe that at the end of the day, Diggs' role was to get Josh Allen to become elite, and now it's Allen who's where he is, and now it's Josh Allen's turn to make players around him better and get the team to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, how much fun do you have kind of interacting with both the old-time Bills and you get to meet some of the new players and kind of just really enjoying that and also being, amidst the fans, too? That's all got to be awesome.
Well, that's what all yesterday was about for me.
Yeah.
I was like to see Bruce Smith go, oh, my God, Bruce Smith. Just one of the greatest guys ever, and what a player he was. Mm-hmm. I mean, that man ran the defense. So it's a thrill. It's a thrill to be around these guys that I've worshipped for many, many, many seasons, and it's just and to have a little bit of pizzazz in myself for being known as a golfer. So, but oh boy. We had so much fun yesterday.
Yeah.
We had so much fun. But they're great guys, and I love to see them out there and
as many times as you go out there, because Jim brings in a lot of different people, actors, other athletes. I'm a Red Sox fan. I think 3 years ago, Johnny Damon walked by me, and I was like, oh, my God. Like, as much as you're used to and what we do for a living, being around star athletes, when it's an athlete you remember from when you were younger, it's just, it elevates it that much.
That's well said. Yeah, absolutely. Johnny Damon. I when I met him, also he had the Yankees ring and the Boston ring. It was like
It's got to be like two magnets pushing against each other there.
massive rings.
Right.
He has massive hands too. It was like whoa. So it was too funny.
Awesome.
Let's get into Happy Gilmore. We'll start with the original. I was in college when it came out, so I enjoyed it a number of times in a different way than how I normally would be watching it.
College days.
Oh,
But
yeah.
like bartending, we'd get home at 3 in the morning and be like, let's put Happy Gilmore in and just chill until 5 in the morning when you go to bed in the service industry. But give us a little insight on how the set was while you were there, because it looked, Adam Sandler's a lot of fun. The cast is just amazing in that. A lot of ad lib, a lot of fun during the filming of the movie, or did Adam kind of have it, this is how I want it to go? I don't see him doing that, but then again, I don't know him. You do.
Well, Adam is very successful for a reason. He's got a huge heart. He's a great guy. And doing this movie with him at that time, I was his nemesis. We weren't really that close, to be honest with you. But we just razzed on each other throughout the whole thing, which was great at the same time. And then they kept a lot of that, improv stuff in.
Yeah.
The movie, Julie Bowen, who played, oh gosh, she's so beautiful. That was fun. I love the Happy Place.
Yeah.
I mean, I could watch that scene plenty of times because
I bet you can.
Yeah. Then I had to suck on Grandma's tongue. That wasn't fun, but you got to do what you got to do. Yeah.
Got the laugh, right?
Get the laugh. That's the most important thing. But yeah, it was a blast. Bob Barker was a true standout. He just, I'll do it, but I want to do my own stunts. I'm a bit of a pugilist. He's like, so he started that punch and stuff, and it was one of the funniest scenes in the movie. So great actors. Adam surrounds himself with really funny people, and he's just one of the great guys. So the future one that we're going to go into, I really have not read it. I'm told I'm in it.
You have to be in it.
I have to be in it. The shooter's got to be in it. But I also know that it's under wraps. It's very, very, very quiet who they're sending it out to.
But you can say when filming starts, right?
You guys are getting me in trouble.
No, this guy thinks he's sharp, and let's not go there with him. Right?
What if I throw some ideas out? Always a fun time with Chris McDonald there. Next up on our list, Buffalo native Chad Michael Murray, best known for his role on One Tree Hill. I was out sick that day. Andy Young, flying solo, caught up with the actor to discuss his favorite football team and following them while getting started in Hollywood.
When you're coming of age at that point and you're so busy and you've got this career that's really taking off, how are you able to follow the Bills at that point in your life? Like, how closely were you able to kind of pay attention? We're probably talking more drought years at that point, so maybe you didn't want to pay attention.
Well, we were in the drought, but I never missed. So we, on One Tree Hill, we filmed on Sundays, which was brutal. And I absolutely just detested it because I'm a football guy. Like, not only do I watch the Bills, but then I had DirecTV. I had Sunday tickets, so I was watching every single game. That was my Sunday. I wanted to get up. Excuse me. I'd get up. I'm jet lagged from flying in from L.A. We're a 4-hour difference from L.A. right now. So I would get up, and I would get some wings from the butcher, and I would get them all prepped and ready to go, and I would deep fry wings, and I have people come over to the house. But then when we started filming on Sundays, our transport team was sweet enough to get me a satellite dish. And so they would put the game on in my trailer, and I'd go play basketball. And as soon as they yelled cut, I'd run and book out the door and go stand in my trailer and be standing in the doorway until they called me back so that I could watch a play or two before I went back and shot again. And then, I'd watch us just get destroyed as we did in the drought. You live and die on Sundays, and primarily died at that point. And so, yeah, that was what I did. I watched the game via satellite in my trailer during shooting.
That's wild. I love it. That's fantastic. Stepping back just a little bit, were you a Doug Flutie or a Rob Johnson guy when that controversy went down?
Oh gosh. I mean, look, we all know that the answer would have been to keep Doug Flutie in, obviously. You don't take some young gun, throw him in under pressure into the playoffs. That just seems like illogical. I understand why, right? You're trying to change the hats, you're trying to get there, but not the time. Like, ride the hot hand, ride Doug Flutie, get through the playoffs, and then see what happens, right? See what happens. And then the next year, go ahead and start Rob. But it is what it is.
Yeah. Who is your all-time favorite Bills player, if you could narrow it down?
Well, that's a terrible question. All-time favorite player?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, I love the guys that we grew up with. I'm such a 90s Bills guy because we grew up with Jim, and we grew up with Bruce and Thurman and Andre, and now I've got relationships with those guys. So, when I first started in this industry, I started doing charity work, and Jim invited me years ago to one of his golf tournaments. And so I got to go out and meet Jim. And then throughout the years, Jim would come out and he'd play football with us, which was crazy town. So it was like Thanksgiving. And we had a pickup game at Sunset Park in Clarence in the mud. And he's intentionally throwing people into the mud, into the puddles. But man, I think that when you see that level of play, by the way, just in a pickup game, you realize why he was where he is in the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because he put the ball just that far outside everyone's hands. There was no chance anyone was going to pick that off. He never missed. It was pretty impressive, pretty unbelievable, just in a pickup game in the yard. But I mean, all those guys have just been great to me and to my family since over the last 15 years or so, 20 years or so. So I can't pick one. But the 90s Bills.
How could you, right? Yeah. That era was so incredible. I mean, you just look back at the old pictures of the old stadium when it was Rich Stadium, and it's 80,000 people and Zubaz everywhere, and people are drinking beers and smoking cigarettes. Just a different time, right?
Yeah, and the new guys are incredible. I love the new guys, I mean, Josh, he's just like the most humble, down-to-earth human being there is. Like, he's your star quarterback, but he doesn't behave like, everybody in the world wants a piece. He he keeps himself grounded. And that's a very big deal, especially when he's in like this blue collar town with he's got a great attitude. And Dion Dawkins, like, what a class act, genuinely all around. So we've got a really good group of guys now to build off of. That's the beautiful foundation that we have right now. And, a couple more pieces. And I think that they're going to finally hoist that Lombardi, my mouth to God's ears, but we'll see.
On to our third and final celebrity, and that is Nick Bakay. Older NFL fans might remember him from ESPN's NFL Game Day. He did a segment called Tale of the Tape. The actor-comedian, though, might be best known for voicing the cat Salem on Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Nick with plenty to say in this one. Here he talks about the Bills with a more balanced offense this year and moving on from wide receiver Stephon Diggs. I've heard you on another podcast mention you have Josh Allen right now. Just let it rip. Let him do what he wants. But the Bills, Nick, have a very balanced team right now, run and pass. I think we're equal against the Seahawks. And I think at this stage, I think the podcast I'm referring to was from like a year ago or something like that, when Allen was throwing all these interceptions. But I think they have a championship-style team with this balance in preserving Allen and telling Allen, a little more mature, knows to throw the ball out of bounds instead of just throwing it down the middle. I like seeing it. Do you?
Yeah, I agree with you. It feels like there's been some sort of leap in maturity this season, because that was a reaction to last year, and there was that transition when Brady took over as coordinator, and it was a good move. It's looking like a very good move, but when that stuff happens in the middle of the season, everything's kind of at odds and sods, and there was a period of time where you thought it's too cautious. I think we're getting killed with caution. We have this unicorn quarterback, and we're kind of telling him to play half of his game.
Right.
I don't have any of those emotions watching it this year because I love what they're doing, and they have the balance. But the running game is worthy of that now, and part of that is the line. It's it's not just the scheme. It's that they made some tweaks to that offensive line that have been just profoundly effective. You watch what Cook and then what Ray's doing when he hops in there. It's beautiful. Like you're saying, you can't load up against this offense because you get killed. There isn't one weak element of this offense. We've got great tight ends. We've got great wide receivers now that are balanced because Cooper unlocked everyone. No one's trying to be a number one anymore, and yet you can't load the box on any of those guys. And then the running game has really been fascinating. And now that Ray's playing, he's added this other flavor, and he's that little bullback. They can't see him behind the blocking, and then he's gone, and then he punishes you. And it seems to set Cook up beautifully. It's fun football to watch. And Josh, he finally threw an interception. It's remarkable. That's not the Josh we know either.
Yeah, and he pointed out, and I mean, if you saw the game, wet field, Amari Cooper slipped. Maybe something happened when Josh Allen saw it, but it was too late. But it was inevitable. I mean, I do a post-game show with Stevie Johnson, the Bills' former wide receiver.
Sure.
And we were joking around like everyone was talking about it too much. You could say it's not like a pitcher with a no-hitter, but Josh Allen was going to throw a pick eventually. Okay, it's out of the way. This cannot be a storyline anymore.
Almost better. Yeah.
Right.
It didn't hurt us. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. That's great.
I love your point about Stephon Diggs. I said that throughout the entire offseason. Sometimes what you don't get or don't have ends up being the blessing. And I always refer to the Red Sox not getting Alex Rodriguez and him going to the Yankees. Red Sox break the curse that year, win the World Series. The whole talk was the Yankees did it to the Red Sox again. They undercut the Red Sox and took Alex Rodriguez. But sometimes how these storylines in sports work out is Diggs, who I think I just saw online is done for the season.
Is that a fact? I know he was hurt. Is he out?
He hurt his knee, non-contact, right before we came on. I'm not going to give it too much credit because it was just something that flashed on my screen before.
Interesting.
But moving on from him, I think ends up being good. And I think...
Well, anybody who watched the Bills down the stretch, the last 8 games, he didn't do much. He really did nothing. And, we don't play. We don't know the schemes. So we don't know. There's a lot of inside baseball we're not privy to. But that's not a guy commensurate with the whining and the narcissism. But the fact that they paid him that much money just to go away.
Right.
I'm in a business. I'm in one of the few other lines of work where that kind of thing happens, and it's you earn that kind of walk away money, and you don't earn it being everybody's favorite human being. Enough said.
Right. Hope you enjoy this over the bye week. To watch any of our celebrity interviews in full, again, go to our YouTube page. I will be back with Stevie Johnson, former Bills wide receiver, joining me to talk about the home stretch for the Bills, getting back on track, the 49ers game coming up. That will come your way next week. Enjoy a stress-free Sunday, everyone.